What's up, Ravens? Welcome back to the second edition of Second Take. I'll be your host today, Oliver Chrissy, and I'm joined alongside
Jackson Deckant.
Isaiah Wallace.
J.K.M. Tower.
And recently in the NFL, Carolina Panthers quarterback Bryce Young was benched in replace of Andy Dalton. Bryce Young, 2-16 record with the Panthers so far, has more interceptions and touchdowns. What do you guys think about this?
Well, I think it's kind of unjust in a way. You know, probably one of the worst rookie quarterback situations in a while that we have seen.
I think it'll be a good experiment because, we'll see what Andy Dalton can do. Because if Andy Dalton plays better than him, then we actually know. But if the same thing happens, then I feel like this is a good way to figure out whose fault it really is, if it's the Panthers organization or if it's Bryce Young.
Well, yeah, but Bryce Young last year, he had a horrible team. Don't get me wrong, Adam Thielen is his number one, is horrible. But they added weapons this year. They got Deontay Johnson free agency. They took Xavier Legette in the draft. They got Jonathan Brooks, and he's even worse right now. Still hasn't thrown a touchdown. So I like the idea of throwing in Andy Dalton, trying to figure out something, because whatever is going right now is just not working, because Bryce Young is playing terribly.
I think the Panthers, I genuinely think that they should have waited for, Bryce Young to, get into the NFL mojo before having him start, have him, be a backup for 2 years, have Andy Dalton start, And then whenever he comes back, like Tom Brady, it was really good, That's what happened.
Just have him sit behind a veteran for a while, see what happens.
Still, even then, he's only 2 seasons in, and quarterbacks, they're probably or easily the hardest position to develop in the league. You need more than 2 years, and you're really demoralizing Bryce by sitting him out this early in his career. When, sure, he got Deontay Johnson, who is a below-average receiver, and Xavier Legette, who we don't even know if he's good yet. He's a rookie. And replacing him with Grandpa Man Andy Dalton, you don't know how good Andy Dalton's going to be.
I mean, you say he needs time, but really for a rookie, I don't know, the guy right behind him, C.J. Stroud, I don't know how much time he needed. He just came right in and he was awesome. He looked like he might be able to lead his team to a Super Bowl this year. Even last year, he looked awesome. So I think if he was on the Panthers, it would look a lot better. I think they made the wrong choice in the draft, but
there's no debating that they made the wrong choice in the draft, but you also have to think about that fact with Tank Dell was the best rookie receiver and one of the best rookie receivers we've seen since probably Chris Olathe.
But you need that from a quarterback because Garrett Wilson had Zach Wilson for a long time, and you could see potential, but you never really saw how good he actually was until right now, where, to be fair, he isn't looking awesome.
Well, yeah, but with rookie QBs, obviously you got to give him time to develop. J.J. McCarthy won't play this year. Drake May's sitting on the bench. Bo Nix might not start for long. But when you're the number one pick quarterback from Alabama, he has such high expectations. It's just been insanely underwhelming at how poorly he's played so far. So I'm not giving up on him yet. You got to give him time, maybe give him a better team. But it's really not looking good right now. And I even think if you put C.J. Stroud on the Panthers, I think they're a playoff caliber team just because of how good Stroud's been. But Bryce Young has just been so underwhelming with the high expectations that have been set on him.
I think your take makes sense, but the Panthers' defense just let up 47 points to the Saints. And even C.J. Stroud's not outscoring 47 points with the Panthers' receiving core.
In all fairness, though, can we talk about how good the Saints have been?
Yeah, they have been.
They destroyed the Cowboys in Dallas. I don't think the Saints are going to make the playoffs, but in all fairness, they've been playing so good so far.
I think the Cowboys are just garbage.
I think that all of this high scoring from the Saints so far this year is just a product of them having a new interim offensive coordinator. Nobody's ever seen this dude call plays before, and I think coming here pretty soon, this will all sizzle out and Derek Carr shows true colors.
I agree. I feel like, you got to give a lot of props to Alvin Kamara. I mean, he has been playing great. He scored me 46 points on fantasy. Won me the round. I appreciate that.
Against me.
I hate Dak
I
Prescott.
know. Isaiah got trumped. Alvin Kamara by himself because Tyreek Hill scored me 6 points,
Yeah.
and then Anthony Richardson only 10. So Alvin Kamara really carried the team. But yeah, the Saints have played so much differently. Their offense has been so much different that their plays are a lot harder to read now.
Yeah, well, the thing with Alvin Kamara and a lot of the Saints guys is some of them tend to get hurt a lot, and Kamara gets suspended too. Kamara gets hurt a lot. We see Kendre Miller on the IR right now.
All right, I think this is a great
Olave-
time to wrap it up. All
Olave
right, guys.
misses some games. I'm transitioning into injuries. We see a lot of the Saints guys get hurt, and we've seen a bunch of other guys get hurt so far. We saw Justin Jefferson go down. Who else have we seen? We've seen Williams get hurt. Debo Samuel.
Cooper
A.J.
Kupp.
Brown. Cooper
Tua.
Kupp. Puka Nakua.
Christian McCaffrey still hasn't come back from the beginning of the
There have
season.
been so many good players in the NFL who have been hurt so early into the season. Even good quarterbacks like Tua Tagovailoa and Jordan Love. What's happening? We've seen so many good players in the NFL get hurt, and we're 2 weeks into the season. What's going on?
Tua's not good.
That's
That's
what I
valid.
asked.
Not associate anyway.
Okay, I'm just.
What's happening? Is there something wrong with the turf? What's going on?
No,
here?
these aren't turf injuries.
We cannot have all these star players getting hurt so early because we don't want to see Easton Stick play half the season.
They're getting paid.
They're getting paid, but the reason they're getting paid is because we want to see them play. And if they're not playing, then no one wants to watch the games.
It's just getting to be more of a high contact sport nowadays, with the league sort of transitioning to more of a too high safety look, with more unexperienced quarterbacks not recognizing that. They throw the ball more downfield, which leads to higher contact plays just from the safeties coming down and shelling their other receivers and just laying out more hits. That's why we're seeing more offensive players getting hurt than defensive players, just because defensive players almost entirely sway that statistic, I think.
Yeah, not to mention the kickoffs have changed. There's basically no more touchbacks without a heavy penalty, so teams are being forced to actually run the ball.
It's like a 30% of the balls are returned now, but
Hey, just putting that out there. Just putting that out there.
We have the new kickoffs. It's nice that they get them to return it more, get some more action, but like you said, it also gets high risk of injury in a sport that already has a high risk of injury. We've just seen so many good players get hurt, and we don't want to watch an NFL where we don't have a Justin Jefferson and a Jordan Love and Puka and Cooper Kupp and CMC, because we don't have all those good players, and those are the people we want to watch. And when they get hurt, then there isn't as much to watch.
yeah, I just think it also impacts their teams. But we got to go on to KU football.
KU football,
How
ladies and gentlemen.
about those Jayhawks looking
The
a
1
bit
and 2
underwhelming?
KU Jayhawks had a very good win against Lindenwood, which didn't really mean much. Then they've dropped back-to-back one-score games versus Illinois and UNLV. What's going on, guys? What's happening to KU?
Our teacher is currently smack talking us in the back room right now.
Well,
but
I think they're falling in the shadow of K-State, personally.
Yeah,
You know,
really.
K-State is clearly the superior school, clearly the superior Kansas school. I don't care what anyone else says. I think KU football just sucks. Let's be fair here, right?
don't
Their new offensive coordinator is just kind of honestly just doing their
Horrible.
team dirty right now, right? With their quarterback coming off injury, post injury is not performing well as KU used to perform, you know, and it's really impacting their team here.
So, with the departure of any offensive coordinator, let alone Andy Kotelnicki, who's now headed off to Power 5, Penn State, he ran a very intricate offense. He ran a lot of funky sets, you know, 2 running backs playing quarterback, weird stuff like that. So to shift from that kind of offense to a newer one with the new offensive coordinator, don't know his name, it's going to take time to adjust, and I think that's the main problem right now, aside from Jalen.
Yeah, we have the talent, I feel like, because we didn't lose too many people from last year. So I think it's a mix of us having the talent but it not working out. But I also think, in my opinion, Daniels has been kind of underwhelming up to this point, because I think everyone thought he was going to come back and they're going to be like, "Oh, we're going to have a top 15 QB right off the bat, and we're going to go to the playoffs and all this." But we really haven't seen too much of him. He's been hurt, and it's been Bean the whole time.
Anyone saying that Jalen Daniels hasn't been majorly underwhelming so far this year is completely understating that. We came into this season with Jalen Daniels rumored to be a Heisman candidate, and right now he looks horrible. He's throwing all the home run balls he can, won't check down to the guy on the flat, and frankly, it's costing us games because we're losing by 2-3 points each game.
I mean, 90% to the wide receivers is absolutely crazy. And especially, I mean, I feel like that's not all Daniel's fault. It's definitely part of the offensive coordinator. Because, I mean, 90% to the wide receivers? That's going to make, like, their game next week against West Virginia. They're going to watch those tapes, and they're going to see 90% going to the wide receivers. The cornerbacks are going to know what to do, and then they're going to capitalize on that. And then Jayhawk's offense is going to get, like, cut off instantly.
Yeah, Jalen Daniels isn't getting a lot of help, but he's not helping out anyone else either. I think underwhelming is a bit of an understatement. 3 touchdowns to 6 interceptions so far. He isn't completing passes. It's just not going well, and when you don't have a good quarterback, it's hard to win games. But we're going to have to go ahead and move on to the MLB. The Kansas City Royals are looking for their first playoff spot since they won the World Series in 2015. Guys, it might be finally here. Playoff baseball in Kansas City. Do you think we can make it?
It has been so long. I just want it to be back, please.
Hey, let's not wait. How about them boys in blue getting it ready? Got Bobby Witt Jr. launching grand slams, but now the thing is, we got 4 runs, but can we hold those 4-run leads? We're seeing them have these leads and just let go of them, and we can't win right now. But I think we just have to get to the playoffs, because in the playoffs anything can happen. That's how every sport is. You get to the playoffs, it's not about you being at the playoffs, but just anybody can win in the playoffs, just with those situations, different stakes, and I think the Royals are ready. I think we're coming for it. We just got to stay. We have, a 3-game lead over the Tigers right now? 3 games? Yeah, so we just gotta hold them off, but they are looking red hot, the Tigers.
I mean, yeah, we saw a World Series last year of the 6-seeded Diamondbacks and the 5-seeded Rangers in the NL and AL. So if they could make the playoffs, they could do anything. They just got to get there. We're seeing a great starting pitching staff with Lugo and Reagans and Michael Wacha and Brady Singer. We're seeing a great starting pitching staff, but a super inconsistent bullpen and an offense that relies heavily on Salvador Perez and Bobby Witt Jr. So we're going to need some of these more defensive-minded players to step up. We're going to need the bullpen to get some outs. But if we can make the playoffs, anything can happen. Again, we saw a very crazy World Series last year, so I don't think it's out of the question. They just got to keep playing good baseball, and they got to get to the playoffs in the first place.
Might get Benny back, too. That'll help a lot.
Going off what you said, Bobby Witt Jr. went 30-30 recently. First player, one of the first players in history. And then, pitcher's name, I forgot his name already. Lugo, absolutely destroying it against the Tigers. And I feel like we have good players, right? Like Bobby Witt Jr. getting home runs, Salvi's putting up good, consistent batting. But we need to finish these games. We need to lock down these games. The Royals are playing fine. We just need to, we keep slipping by a few runs every game, and we need to lock that down.
Yeah, we saw them make quite a few bullpen additions at the trade deadline. We saw them pick up Lucas Erceg from the Oakland Athletics, Hunter Harvey from the Nationals. Lucas Erceg has been playing great, but the Royals bullpen, just in general, has not been playing well, and they've got to be able to shut down these games. But unfortunately, folks, that is all the time we have for today. Thank you for tuning in to Second Take for the Raven Network. This has been Oliver Christie,
Isaiah Wallace,
Jacob Amtower,
Peyton Laughlin,
Jackson Deckant.
Raven Nation.
let's fly.
I'm not doing that.
Go Cats.